I'm really very scared of one bedder.
Have you got that off your chest already? Wow.
Feels a lot better now.
Now like sub-sale, haven't built finish, he also can sell.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Somebody actually understand.
2 years, one doing.
3, 2, 1.
I thought you starting.
Oh yeah, I start. Alright, welcome back to a new episode of itsteamcharlie. Alright, today we have the three of us, myself, Ramzi, we have Caline, as well as
Alfred.
Okay,
Hello.
and today I think we're gonna be touching about quite a unique topic for discussion. First and foremost, it would be the condo trap that nobody talks about. So it is exit liquidity over entry price. Because I think today, general feel on the ground, of course, with the new launches that are coming up, is that people keep comparing entry prices, right? Be it PSF prices, be it quantum prices, but they'll be like, oh, look at this new launch, you know, like,
Very cheap.
yeah, very cheap, starting from XX amount.
Same price as resale.
Yeah, same price as resale. Like, oh, does that mean like I can straight away buy it? Is it a confirmed safe purchase? Yeah, so I think a lot of things to talk about when it comes to exit liquidity as well as entry price. I think this discussion, we are going to be touching on a lot of different kind of perspectives to make it a little bit more rational, right? But before that, maybe we can run through the little definition about both exit liquidity as well as entry price. So exactly what is exit liquidity? I think, of course, we use our good friend Claude, right, to help us summarize. But basically, exit liquidity would be made out of three different parts. So firstly is your buyer depth. Basically, how many buyers can afford to buy my unit when I decide to exit down the road? What are the different types of buyers that I can tap into, the buyer pool, all right? Demand urgency, so basically to say how much demand is there for my unit. Is it something that in terms of meeting the needs of my target audience, is it very, very good? And lastly will be in terms of the supply constraint. So basically you say, is the kind of unit that I'm holding or that I'm planning to buy, is it rare in supply? Or is there a lot of different alternatives for it? Yeah, so I think this is what defines exit liquidity for me. What about you guys?
Before we go to the next slide, right? Okay, we usually know more or less how to talk about supply, right?
Yeah.
So one way how consumer can actually check supply is they go straight to Property Guru, which is, of course, there are other platform, 99.co, SRX, but I mean 99, but after all, Guru, right, is still the essential platform for most of the consumer, right? Yeah. So today, if I want to check about a certain supply, for example, say the number of 3 bedders across the entire island, quite easily I can actually check it. Okay, so supply, more or less, I know how to find out. But for the consumer, right, how do they actually know how many buyers can afford their unit at the target price? So if a consumer want to find out about this, how do they find out? Secondly is, how badly the buyer wants it. How do I know there is a demand urgency? So these two questions actually pop into my mind when I look at these slides. Yeah,
I think it's down to like fundamentals of like economics, which is like demand over supply, it drives the price up. Then of course, if let's say demand supply is about the same, it's sort of like a 50-50 kind of market between the sellers and buyers. But exactly how badly a buyer demand is, right, I think it really comes down to experience and being in the market and being on the ground, because that's something that you cannot go online and find. You can see transactions happening, but you can't make sense of it. You don't know exactly, maybe at this point, this unit or this type of unit, right, how many people actually offered for it, how many people viewed it. So I think all this kind of like buyer demand, it really comes from like maybe you yourself as a buyer, try hunting, you try offering, then you realize, maybe not so easy one. I thought I want to buy, I negotiate, I sure get. Sometimes you end up in open bidding, closed bidding, or you end up with maybe non-serious sellers also. That's also a possibility. So I think in terms of like demand urgency, right, it's something that it comes down to like experience on the ground.
And I think to add on to that, right, I mean, today, of course, buyers are very savvy. Information out there is easily accessible, maybe through subscription models or even out there for free. And I think that is great in the sense of it empowers a DIY buyer. But there is so much that black and white can portray a picture to you. I think what's most important is really to be on the ground and to be in the market, most importantly. Because today, if I want to kickstart my purchase journey, and then I just like go online and just access all the data, right, it can paint me a very, very nice picture, but is it a very holistic kind of perspective? I beg to differ lah. Because I also agree that you definitely, number one, have to be on the ground. Because being on the ground, of course, now you're buying real estate. You're buying a physical asset. On top of it being, of course, all the numbers, etc. You can use a lot of I don't know, like calculations, etc., all the frameworks to sort of justify your purchase. But most importantly is being on the ground and understanding the product that you're buying. Yeah, so that's number one. And I feel that that's important, and that is what drives the demand urgency. But when it comes to buyer depth, it's also understanding macro concepts. Yeah, so Alfred, you ask us, right, like how do we know whether buyers can even afford a unit? Of course, number one is to look at the general consensus. We look at how the population's income, median income, how is it performing? I think year on year it's been good, right? We see steady increments. I think that's what government aims to achieve as well. So I think that's good. Secondly, will be in terms of like what are the different types of buyers that can be buying my property. Then I think that one is really go on the ground, understand what is in the surroundings, and do your own due diligence and comparisons lah. Yeah. So I think that brings us nicely to how we also define exit audience, right? Because when we're talking about exit liquidity, where we want to understand what are the different types of audience that we have lah. Yeah, we have lah. Yeah.
Correct, Ken. So let's touch a little bit on this. So exactly like what is an exit audience, right? I think the question is very simple. It's basically who's going to buy from you when you want to sell. It's not about who wants to buy from you today.
Yeah.
It's about who wants to buy from you at the point that you want to sell.
Yep.
You want to sell 2 years time, 3 years time, 5 years time, 10 years time. The audience will shift, right? So I think that's the fundamental questions to ask. Like, it's when you want to sell. It's not about now. So that's quite a different thing, because now it's just yourself.
Yeah. So the next slide, we actually sort of summarized basically what entails an exit audience. So number one, of course, what are types, whether they are family or they are a single couple, and then their affordability, of course, an important aspect that we must not overlook as well. And I think most importantly is the buyer psychology, to understand the behavior, the preference, and also the market sentiments and buyer sentiments on the ground. Because like what you mentioned, actually today, it's not really to understand that whether who are the buyers today that can buy, but rather who are the buyers down the road where should I decide to sell down the road. I think that's important, especially if you're looking at like areas that are developing lah. Because I mean, areas that are developing right now today, perhaps you might not see
HDB upgraders.
Yeah, HDB upgraders. You might not see a lot of developments. You might not see the infrastructure being built yet, which is definitely why you need to also look at it, project it in the future. How is it going to be like? And you also need to understand what your time horizon of holding this property is, be it for investment or for own stay. Yeah.
Okay. So I just give you all like one maybe very good example. I think D15 is home to a lot of freehold boutique projects.
Yeah.
Okay. Common consensus is that if it's boutique project, we try to avoid because of volume transactions.
Yeah.
I've recently sold one boutique project in D15. Profit in 5 years is over 1M.
Yeah.
Okay, for they bought it at like 2.5-ish. Now it's already 3.5, 3.6.
That's quite good leh.
Yeah. So then again, I think it comes back to preferences. So basically, it's who's going to buy from you like 5 years down, for example.
Yeah.
It's quite clear that people in D15, I mean, for me, like Eastsiders, freehold still beats 99 if you can. That's just my personal take. I've marketed homes in like D9, 10, 11. 99 years, new is still very challenging there.
Yeah.
Okay, I think like the psychological aspect of buyers there, right? They still prefer something that is like bigger and floor plate. And I think mostly they're buying for own stays, not so much for investment. So size and freehold, right, is still pretty important to them in today's market. But whether that will change 5 to 10 years down, I think it will. Because as more new launches coming up in the area, 99 years become more relevant. I think the demand there might start to shift also.
Yeah.
But as of today, if I'm like marketing a home D9, 10, 11, I feel that 99 small projects, no exit liquidity. Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all have any like similar?
No.
Don't have?
I agree
all
with
can
you.
sell.
I mean, I agree with you that it is not easy. Yeah, especially where I think we don't need an expert or even an agent to say that 9, 10, 11 condos are difficult to sell. Yeah, the owner, they themselves actually feels it as well. Yeah.
Actually, what's the longest duration that both of you had trying to sell a particular unit?
Okay, so
and share what were the main issues lah, or
Okay.
the main
Yeah.
objections.
So I have a huge floor plate penthouse in the east with a lease balance of about low 50.
Okay, you roughly get the few projects.
And then after that, tried selling it for 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that's the longest.
So already?
Sold,
Oh, so already. Wow.
not by me.
Okay, but at least sold. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
So
still
still got
happy.
buyer.
Still happy for
Still got
the.
buyer.
Still got buyer for
Yeah.
that kind of lease,
Yeah.
but it takes time. So that comes back to exit liquidity.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can sell it, but how fast? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
For me, for you?
For me, also 2 years. Also east side.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
so
east side
east side
actually
not the best
challenging. East side
side.
not the best side. Challenging.
No lah, just
Yeah.
kidding. I still like the east side.
Yeah, of
Okay.
course. East side is still the best
But
side.
mine is really like a niche product, I would
Yeah.
say. Conservation landed home.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it took me
Nice.
close to 1.5 to 2 years. But the interesting thing is before that, they were also marketing with other teams for a good 3 years.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how long they have been in the market trying to
Yeah.
sell
Close to
this.
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean all in all, of course with like price adjustments,
Yeah.
market
Yeah.
movements and all.
For me, it's a small unit in a mega development. Mega, we're talking about close to 1,200 over units. City fringe as well.
Okay.
Actually, very good location. Really perfect location. If I am looking from a perspective of I'm someone who want to be close to like the city center. Yeah, superb location. But I took close to 1.5 years to let this unit go. Initial expectations were high, but eventually I think a lot of price correction needed to be done to counter the exit liquidity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So eventually we sold it at, in my opinion, is I think still a very good price for the new owner now.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's
Yeah.
good.
So just because city fringe, just because mega project, just because
New.
newly TOP at that point of time. I think it was at the point of time when I sold, it was already about 2 years already. Yeah. So just because it takes a lot of your so-called factors in which you use to determine whether it is a good purchase or not, does not necessarily mean that
Good exit
it has a good
Yes.
exit liquidity.
Yeah. Understand.
Okay, let's move on a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more about this, Alfred.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Now, so in the next few slides, right, I'm going to focus a lot about the new launches. Okay. Why is that so? Because we also see that at this point in time, as we are shooting, Vela Bay preview is ongoing.
Yes.
Right.
With Tengah.
And together with Tengah as well, and then the preview is ending soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think both projects have a very huge differences, right? Vela Bay is where 70% is seafront facing, right? And then, however, what is the PSF like? The estimated PSF,
To 8 lah.
right?
And
2.8,
above. I would say lah.
possibly
2.8 and above.
2.9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in contrast, we have Tengah.
Tengah Garden,
Okay,
yeah.
Tengah Garden, right, where the PSF is extremely low, right? So, nonetheless, whether is it a very high PSF or even if a very low PSF, nonetheless, these two projects are performing well. Okay, performing well. Not talking about the transaction at this juncture, but rather the amount of crowds that they are able to
Draw
attract.
in. Yeah.
Okay.
I think as of today, from what I understand, is that for Tengah Garden, they actually scrape some priority programs.
Oh.
Because the number of checks they receive is quite
Just
a
too
lot.
many.
It's quite a lot.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
surprising.
Well, so that's quite a good
Yeah.
insider that you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, nonetheless, right, whenever we talk about property, in my opinion, it all boils down to supply and demand. Okay. A certain project can be extremely expensive, but if the demand is there, this is where the property developer, they are able to increase the price.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And then after that, but you see, this demand and supply is a very interesting thing. Okay. This demand and supply, we're not just talking about the Singapore as a country itself. Okay, the entire how the market is actually accepting this, right? But also down to the individual project also. Yeah. So it could be this scenario, right, where the economy right now is not good. I think the entire market is not performing very well. But then when a certain projects comes out with really very good character and uniqueness to it, it will still be well received.
Yeah.
Right. So this demand and supply, I think, cannot be just a blanket rule to the entire economy and how well the real estate will perform. Okay. So whenever we say that, if there is oversupply, but is it true that there is actually oversupply? Yeah. At this juncture, I feel that although the entire real estate market is quite competitive, now I don't think that there is oversupply at this juncture. Why is that so? Because later on, when we look at this, when we look at these slides over here, we see that most of the land that is being pushed out right now are by GLS.
Now, what's GLS?
Yes, which is the government land sales. Okay. So government is the one that actually push out the land for sale to the developer. Yes, there are en bloc that are happening. Okay. However, or even the EC releases, which is the Tengah one that we talk about. Wait, sorry. Tengah is not EC.
Tengah is not EC.
Sorry. Yes. So, but I think over the last 2 years, we also see some EC being released. What's the latest one?
Latest one is Revel.
Yes.
Revel. 92.5, right?
The sold out rate,
More than
90. More than 90.
If we look at the chart over here, the GLS plus the EC releases, this is actually most of the land comprises in the entire market that is being pushed out, apart from the en bloc, because the en bloc is the one where the residents and the developer deal with it directly.
But now we're also starting to see positive
coming back
news.
Coming back.
Coming back.
Yes.
Let's monitor though.
Lorong Valley. But I think you're right lah. But it also goes to show that currently right now, developer sentiments are also a little bit more strong, a little bit more positive. Of course, right now, the overall costing might be very, very high, which means that they will come in through a JV kind of joint venture kind of arrangement. But we know that you can see that there is still the demand for land in Singapore.
Yes,
they're drying up already, the land.
The land
now,
bank.
Land bank.
Which is why, because government is the majority, is the main person that is actually controlling the releases of land. Therefore, if the government feel that there is actually oversupply, do you think that they will still release such a huge amount of land?
Very good. That's a very good point.
So actually from this, we can more or less realize that actually the supply is actually not overly, is not overly being supplied. Okay, and therefore I think this is actually a very well controlled demand and supply to ensure that the entire market don't crash because of oversupply. Okay, now another one is that essentially what will determine the pricing power, right, is these three different scenarios that we can see, right? Whether is it a seller market or whether is it a buyer market. Now, I'm not going to be so naggy and just drill down to the different definitions of it, okay? But in my opinion, it is very, very hard, or very rarely we will see that there is a balance between the seller and the buyer market. I think at any one juncture, it is always either seller's market or buyer's market. Extremely hard to have a balanced one. Okay, especially I think in this year that we are seeing right now, right? It's never easy because the economy are getting tougher as well, right? So, in my opinion, right now it can be quite a confusing market, right? To really say whether is it sellers or is it really buyer, right? Because we have experienced the highest of the bank interest, which is around close to 5% already, right? But now, with the interest rate coming down to about 1.8 averagely, it seems like it is a good buyer market, right? But then are buyers also being more cautious because of this economy, right? Many of them are losing jobs because of the war that is happening, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So ultimately, okay, when we talk about new launches, then whether a product is being well received or not, it really depends on how the developer actually position their pricing.
Okay.
So I think I also want to use this topic, right, for this video episode to really talk about, hey, how actually developer position their price, right? And are there actually high liquidity for the new buyer or not? For the buyer that actually bought into these new launches. Okay, so we're going to take this opportunity to actually break it down for you to see. Right now, so for new launches, okay, now this is actually the sequence right, for how they actually price it, right, from the tendering of the GRS, if they actually purchase it directly from the developer. Then after that, you will be able to see who actually won the land.
Yeah.
Now, who won the land is actually quite easy for you to know, right? Because
Comes
the
out
moment, it will always be out on the news. This developer won this by this PSF. Wow, this developer very courageous, right? Go in with the very high PSF. Wow, then by the time it launch, how much more will it cost? Okay. Now, so then this is actually public data, right? You don't just look at the news, you are also being able to go to URA to find the entire list, right, of the blueprint over there. You can download the document and so on and so forth. Okay, now essentially you will see this thing. I will jump 2 more slides down to look at the 70-20 rules of thumb. Okay, so what is this 70-20 rules of thumb? Essentially is that, all right, the 70%, all right, of the price that they built into the selling price is helping them to break even from the land bid, the constructions, right, the marketing, the finances, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. And then they will build in estimate, typically around 20% plus minus, right, for the eventual profit that the developer will earn. Okay. Now, last time we are also able to see about roughly 30% that they actually built into. Hold on, here. Okay. Now you see the 10 to 20% over there. The second row, the middle box. Okay. Now, at the peak of the market, the developer is able to squeeze in actually 30% of the profit. Okay. But now where land prices are so competitive, where the projects are also being so competitive, and developer also worried about the buyer sentiment as well.
Yeah.
Right. So this is where they actually try to lower down their profit to make it more attractive to the buyer. So averagely around 20% thereabout. Okay. Now then eventually we will then after they add in the margin profit already, that will be the eventual launch price, right? During the launch day itself.
Okay. So basically you take the tendered price, you times 1.7 estimate, that will be the break-even price.
20%.
Then after that you plus another 20% on top of that.
Yes.
So this is how we can also sort of guesstimate what the launch price will be like.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Yeah. However, right, I think it's very important for me to say that it is about averagely 20% thereabout. Okay. This is actually a blanket rules that apply to all the new launches. Okay. Now, will I make some adjustment? For example, when I'm making my estimate, will I go up to 25% in my calculation? Possibly I will do that, right? Will I even go up to 20%, 27% in my estimate? Possibly I will do that. For example, right, the past launches, Emirates and Katong, where we know that this is actually an extremely popular project, right? Over 90% sold in day one itself. Penreef, for example, right? Sky at Holland as well. Okay, even for the upcoming Vela Bay, I think by the time this video launch, we will already know the result and how well this project is being received already. So sometimes, because as agent, we are on the ground so much, I would say we already have a gut feel to how popular the projects can be. And therefore, when we are actually serving a buyer, right, I don't just do 20%. Probably I will if it's for the Tengah projects.
Okay.
Because the land price is extremely low. But for Vela Bay, I will shift out a little bit. Okay. Now this is where I don't put myself in the position that I have no buffer to maneuver. Right. If I only calculate until just nice 20% only then okay, can I be the eventual buyer for Vela Bay? Possibly, but I don't even have sea view.
Yeah, correct. So
right?
basically stress testing at different PSF price points.
Yeah,
and then after that seeing whether it
makes sense for you.
For me. Yeah, but of course we take it as a benchmark usually, right? So maybe about 20% profit margin. This is what we so-called blanket rule. And deem it to be okay. We should expect the developer to be priced at this. But if anything higher, then after that we have to do a reassessment.
So why do I want to share this with our audiences? Very simple. okay, sometimes you may not know whether your agent is overpricing you or not. Right? Assuming the two of you are the buyer, right? You don't know whether your agent is actually overpricing it. Try to hala you a little bit, okay? But we want to empower our audiences to kind of like, you also can use this formula to kind of make an estimate for yourself.
Yep.
Okay. Now, will our audiences be extremely accurate in guessing the eventual price? May not, because after all, they are not the one on the ground on a daily basis to know how popular the project might be.
Okay.
All right. So another one upcoming projects possibly is the Thomson one.
Thomson View Estate.
Right, the Thomson View Estate, which we think is going to be extremely popular as well, or even at least very well received. Okay, then can we actually just use 20%? In my opinion, if I'm the one serving my buyer, my client, I don't think I will. I'm going to price it up a little bit more. Okay, but nonetheless, audience out there, this is what the formula you can generally use as a rule of thumb to estimate and guess the project's price. Okay, now I have also included these slides to really help you to break down and really understand. Okay, how much percentage actually goes towards the land, how much towards the construction's PSF, and then after that the other miscellaneous expenses, as well as eventually the profit target. Okay, now you will see that as you move from OCR to CCR, there is where more costs, right, will actually be added onto the land price as well, which is extremely understandable, right? But by the time you move towards the constructions as well as the profit, it's actually more or less the same already. The only variation is just the land price itself. Okay, so this slide is actually very easy to understand. Okay, now so this is the 70-20 rule of thumb, which I've already covered up. Okay, then after that we move on to these slides. Okay, now essentially these slides, what it's trying to say is the general PSF that we are seeing in the OCR, RCR, and CCR, which I'm not going to deep dive into it now. But what I want to say is that, in my opinion, right now, I feel that consumer out there, especially for new launches, are more or less numb with the PSF already.
I disagree though. I disagree.
Do y'all sense this?
I disagree, but it goes down to the point of okay, because we have new rules that have been introduced over the past few years. Harmonization and stuff. So naturally, PSF
has gone up.
Pricing, or PSF. The points, of course, will have been increased. But I think most importantly would be in terms of the overall quantum. Whether it is still affordable to, let's say today I'm a new launch buyer, whether it still makes sense and it's affordable for me to enter at this kind of pricing. Yeah, so that would be the thing to take note of lah. Mean you say PSF right now, of course, it used to be the benchmark to comparing different projects. But maybe right now that it might not be the most accurate.
Yeah.
In fact, it might be a secondary kind of analysis that I would do. Most importantly, eventually you're buying something, you're going to be taking a loan on that particular purchase. That loan is based on the overall quantum. It doesn't matter what PSF you buy. Maybe you have a point to say that maybe they have become numb because of they focus less on it, but I think it still plays an important part because
it is still a benchmark, nonetheless.
Yeah, it's still a benchmark.
It is still a benchmark. You can't be buying into, like, let's say for example 2008, 2009 PSF where your surrounding is only 1009 lah. I mean, this disparity is too much already, right? But if your surrounding is possibly around 22 to 24, then you buy into a new launches at 2829, still can. Right? Now I think I will change my word use. Instead of numb, I will say it as like you have a higher level of acceptance. Right?
Okay.
I think the level of the higher level of acceptance also comes when the consumer right now are a lot sharper in actually spotting the value of the property. They are able to see the value of it, and then they see that the uniqueness. Now, how often you come across a project where you get 70% sea view? I think this is quite rare already lah. Quite rare to come by, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, I think because of this, plus that it is at the very good locations of the east side, very high, very vibrant locations. This is where I think the uniqueness come from, and that really helped them to have a higher acceptance of even a higher PSF. right? Yeah. So I'm not going to talk so much about this, but you get a good insight about averagely in the different region what is the PSF that we are looking at right now. Okay. Now then after that, let me give you an example. Okay, where the land price actually determine, more or less the new launch eventual result. Okay, now this is Bloomsbury Residences. Now this one, the land bid eventually is averagely about 1191.
Yeah.
Okay. Now then, at the break-even price 2025, the eventual average launch price is about 2430.
Okay.
Now, there is a high and a low, but I'm taking the estimated average launch PSF. Okay. Now, Bloomsbury, right? Actually, on launch day, the result not fantastic. Close to about 30% there about. Okay. But with the Dover Drive, the GLS Dover Drive, okay, suddenly, as of last check yesterday, what was yesterday date? 20th April, okay? Wow, it's actually as of now it's about 84% sold.
Wow.
It's actually quite good.
Yeah, quite good.
It's actually quite good.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, but why this Bloomsbury, right? The result suddenly performed so well, because there is a comparison. The Dover Drive that recent this year, right, that is going to launch this year, okay, the land bid is at 1556, okay,
Yeah.
as compared to Bloomsbury.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is where the land bid is actually higher.
Yeah.
Your break-even price will also be higher as well,
Yeah.
which will then the developer have no choice but to launch at an even higher PSF.
Yeah, okay. Then let's tie this back to the main topic, which is exit liquidity versus entry price. I think this would be a very good example to say that, okay, when Bloomsbury was launched in that area, where it is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel it's an entirely new residential township. Yeah, right? So when Bloomsbury was launched, of course, I would say optimism was not at the highest lah.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why perhaps it's reflective of the launch day, the pickup rate. Yeah. But now that we suddenly see as more of the land plots have been sold and are being launched, right? We start to have points of comparison.
Yeah.
And then we see, okay, now if let's say for example, Bloomsbury land is marketing at what? Average 2000 fair launch is about 24 PSF.
Yeah.
And then I see the land bid for
Dover
is already what? 1,005, close to
Estimate.
1,006. Yeah, estimate. So means what? My fair launch, right, will be what? After break even is about 3,000 PSF. That is close to over almost 700 PSF gap. So which is why I think that pushed a lot of people to see the value in Bloomsbury.
Exactly.
But it ties down to the 2 points that we are discussing right now, which is, okay, the entry price seems very attractive, but going back to the exit liquidity, how is it like in that particular area? Yeah. What do you guys feel? Do you guys feel in an area like this whether the exit liquidity is strong at the moment, or like what perhaps maybe in maybe 5-10 years down the road, then we might see a stronger exit liquidity? Yeah.
Personally, my opinion is that whenever I talk about Dover, usually the value will have to come at a later stage. Means that it will take several years down the road.
Yeah.
It will not be a usual, every 4 years I get to flip and then with a good profit. Yeah. Because Dover itself is... Okay, because I stay in a very ulu part of the west. So I will use my location as an example. Okay. Taman Jurong. Taman Jurong is not a location where you use that location to flip property one. Yeah, I stay there so I can say that. Okay, right? I destroy myself. Okay, now so I see Dover in that same kind of mall.
Yeah.
But okay, of course, people at Dover don't attack me also, because Dover is still a good locations. Because within that locations, we see a lot of freehold.
Dover 1 North lah. Dover 1 North.
Yeah,
One
Dover
North,
and 1 North. We see a lot
yeah.
of freehold condominiums as well.
Okay.
Now, of course, we also have a business district over there.
Yeah.
We are also quite close to the universities over there.
Yeah.
Okay. There are many good things about the Dover area. Okay. It's just that as compared to like people who are actually in the most true central region, right, the even more central region, or even to the very vibrant area in the east, okay, Dover tend to be an area which is away from the hustle and bustle, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Therefore, for anybody to see the true value of their property with a high exit liquidity, they have to add a couple more years into their 4 years seller stamp duty.
So that means, to sum it up, in my opinion, which I'm quite aligned with you as well. So if I'm coming in with the mindset of an investor, I must be prepared to at least hold for a little longer. Right? If you want to see a stronger exit liquidity. Because right now, entry price makes sense. Right?
Yes.
But like what we later on, where we deep dive into this topic even further, we will realize that, okay, don't be too swayed with the prices right now, because you need to come in with a game plan as well. Like down the road, should I want to sell? I must be prepared. What should I be expecting? How much should I be expecting? And how long should I be expecting to hold? Yeah, so I think this one also, I feel it remains to be seen, but it seems like in this particular precinct, it is the
longer term.
Yeah, and the feel is that it's a little bit more optimistic. Of course, with this upcoming GLSs, new launches that will be up in the area.
That's right. Now, I would say people who buy into this One North area, whether is it the upcoming Dover Drive or whether is it the Bloomsbury, all right. Now, in my opinion, I think these are people possibly from already people who are in that area already. Right.
Understand.
Likely people who are in the West Coast area. Okay. From West Coast to move towards the One North area, actually this is actually a good escalation for them to their in terms of their locations, right? No matter what, they are moving towards more central, nonetheless, right? Or even from people from a Clementi area to move towards One North. Okay, so this is also them taking steps to move closer, right? And therefore, this is why they buy into One North as well. Okay, now, nonetheless, I would say this comparison is really to show them that whether you have a higher liquidity exit or not, okay, well, whether the entry price makes sense or not, where you have two projects in a similar locations, the one with the lower land bid cost, right, is a more value buy. Right, if I were to compare apple to apple comparison, this is how I would see it. Okay. Now, another example is where I also compare Alta and Faber residents as well. Just very clear cut. Look at the land price and then the eventual estimated fair launch. Right, we see the disparity already. Okay. So this is also another part of sharing. Same area but different land costs. How will this mix advantage for all our buyers out there also? Okay.
I think this is a very interesting case study because I mean we're talking about Clementi, we are talking about a place where there's very, very high demand. We all are very, very familiar with the Clementi area, right? Very. What are the strong important advantages about staying in Clementi? You have very good schools, primary schools. You
all
have,
the way
right?
until university.
Yeah, all the way until university, right? From primary all the way until tertiary. And then you have, of course, built-in infrastructure. You have the historical aspect in Clementi as well. A lot of generations of families are entrenched, staying over there. So definitely there's a lot of demand. There's recurring demand, I would say. And then what's the difference between Faber and Alta would be, number one, of course, in terms of the density, right? Alta is, correct, density. Alta is much larger, right?
I believe Alta is larger, and I think the location also plays a part.
Location
definitely.
Also, definitely.
Alta is high rise. Faber, I remember,
is
low
rise. Low rise. I mean, it's a little bit more spread across wider land, but it's low rise. And Faber, of course, Alta is a lot more in terms of convenience and connectivity, right? It will be better lah. Faber is tucked all the way in your Faber residential landed enclave. But you can see that you're still within the same kind of precinct, which is the Clementi precinct. You're still able to tap into the amenities as well as the infrastructure that's already been built there. And I think if, let's say, for someone if you are looking for gaps, looking for disparity gaps, then clearly you can see, because you can see the fair launch prices, the gap is actually quite high lah. And these are two new launches. Normally, this kind of gap, right, we are talking about new launch versus resale. But now, right, we're talking about two new launch projects.
New launch.
Right.
But I still think this boils down to personal preference and what you're hunting for. Because I still feel that even though they are both in Clementi, they have quite different attributes as a project by themselves.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Right, now this is the slide where we talk about how developer position their price, okay, from launch day all the way to when it close to near TOP or even post TOP itself. Okay, now the general rule of thumb is that the developer don't really drop price unless absolutely necessary. Okay, now even for the launch day itself, we can already see the difference already, where we have like a VIP purchase, VVIP purchase, and then to the general purchase, to the post-launch purchase, and then the near TOP purchase. Okay, now these slides also remind me that maybe in our upcoming episode, we can insert one episode where we talk about how to spot value by post-launch project.
Wow, okay.
I think this is a very good topic because as these slides, try to say that it's saying that developer don't drop prices, right? But I also want to use the words they don't drop unless absolutely necessary. So what is the absolutely necessary is where they are nearing the 5 years mark, where the developers are nearing the 5 years mark, where they have to pay the 35% ABSD.
And they need to clear their stock.
Correct.
To prevent this.
Yes. Now, but this is just one of the factor of how and why the developer may drop their prices a little bit. Okay, but this is just one of the many factors. There are several more factors to how they may consider dropping their price or even like adjusting their PSF to make sense and to be absolutely competitive. Okay, but nonetheless, our audiences who are watching this video, this is the kind of trajectory in terms of their PSF where you can take note of in terms of their launch day all the way to near TOP or even post TOP itself. Means essentially, is that the later you buy, the higher the PSF. Okay, and also the lesser preferred unit you may spot within the project also, because the good one have already been purchased away, right? Now, last but not least, okay, is that essentially, okay, if any of the audiences out there who want to buy new launches yourself, okay, or even just to ask yourself questions like, is this project even worth considering or not? Ask yourself these 3 questions, okay? What is the price that the developer pay for this land? More or less, then from there I will be able to know what could be the estimated launch price, right? By adding the 70-20% rule, right? And then last but not least is the supply tight or loose in these micro locations. Sometimes if you have stayed in this location long enough, right, possibly 20 years, 30 years, that kind of thing, right, you may have a sensing on the ground, but as a resident. Okay, you still eventually have to use data as the backup, okay, to really understand these micro locations overall. So essentially, okay, when you may have to still find a real estate consultant to really help you to advise this properly. Okay. So this is the part where I want to talk about the exit liquidity, specifically on new launches itself.
Okay, great. Well, there's a very in-depth, I think, portion and sharing about new launch. But I think it's also it's very important to understand new launch first and foremost, of course, because they're the benchmark makers, of course, in the entire real estate market in Singapore. And I think now going back to the topic of exit liquidity versus entry price, then I think understanding the launch will also be able to sort of shape the background context that we are working with. Because today, right now, of course, if I'm going for a new launch, right, and new launch is the benchmark setters, right, then definitely there will be price gaps and price and disparity gaps that we can identify. Then the question is, should I still go for a new launch or should I still go for a resale, right? Which one would be better in terms for me, in terms of the entry price or in terms of the exit liquidity? So let's talk a little bit more about exit liquidity first. Let's think about some points and discuss some points in to explain why exit liquidity is more important. So I think the first one, of course, when we talk about exit liquidity, I think we are talking about like what we actually defined earlier, right? Buyer pool. Now, when we're talking about buyer pool, right, we're talking about a deep buyer pool. So it's not a matter of breadth, meaning say to what kind of different types of buyer pool you can target. It's a matter of the depth. I mean, you say down to even the financing, even their affordability, how much they can be going for, what's their preferences and all that. And I think this will eventually form your insurance policy lah. Yeah, in that sense, right? When you buy over this product, then down the road, this will so-called like really strengthen the moat that you have around this purchase that you're gonna be buying. Yeah. So, what are some factors that sort of really strengthen this insurance policy that you have? I think first and foremost, locational factors, locational characteristics. So you got the MRT stations, you have malls, you have primary schools. Yeah, primary schools is very important. Why? Because you target families, right? And families are very important because in Singapore real estate market, we are driven by local demand, right? We have one of the highest home ownership rates in the world, over 90%, very, very consistent on this. And COVID also proved to us that actually the demand is not driven by any foreign external demand, but it's more driven by local recurring demand. Because here, Singaporean families have desires or have goals to upgrade, right? And I think we understand that pyramid, right? Wherever we talk about the real estate market, what forms the base layer?
Of support,
the base of support would be HDB upgraders, right? Those first-time buyers who receive support from government in terms of like CPF grants, right? Then we start to see them recycling these CPF grants into the higher layers of this pyramid.
Like your condo, then your landlords, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so this is very important. And I think one case study that we can talk about, if you were to go down to the last few slides, right? The first point, which is deep buyer pool, is your insurance policy. We can talk about Jadescape. So Jadescape, of course, it's a very over popular project.
I love it.
Right? You love it, right?
Yeah.
I also love it.
Yeah.
But
I like
funny
the
thing is that
facilities.
I can only admire it from afar lah.
Why?
I can't even afford it lah at this point in time.
I thought you mean like you can't enter the project.
I can't enter
Okay.
into owning something about
Right.
something that is part of the project over here lah. But we can see that the entry PSF at that point with 2019 when it was first launched, that was about below 1,400 per square foot. But currently right now, look at the exit.
rate,
Yeah, correct. These are just average numbers, right? But you can see that currently right now the exit PSF is already 224, and then you can see the profit, the highest. I assume this will be the highest profit lah. Yeah.
I think there's someone who did 5 plus,
Wow.
if I'm not wrong.
5 plus million.
Oh yeah, 5 million. Yeah, you're right.
It was the 5 bidder.
The 5 bidder one.
It was the 5 bidder.
The 5 bidder.
That one is,
Yeah.
honestly, it's insane. Whoever sold it, I still respect.
What lah?
And whoever bought it, more respect.
Yeah, exactly. Willing to pay that.
Yeah.
So the value.
Yeah,
you
the
see?
value
Right,
is
the
correct.
value.
Correct. So you see, right, at the point of time when they entered, when they bought it, right, it's not the cheapest also, right? 1,004, I think about at 2019, the environment there was also
You have more options.
yeah, you have more
a lot
options
of resale
definitely
options at that
as
point.
compared to Jadescape
Yeah,
right?
correct.
But I mean, those who have bought really quite a lot. You can see the annualized gains per annum is about 15%.
Gross lah, yeah.
Gross lah, yeah, correct. So it's really down to of course, the very few factors over here. Number one, the MRT proximity. All right. Number two is top schools, because you have your entire cluster
Aitong.
of you have Aitong.
But okay, not all blocks.
Yeah, not all blocks, but you have Aitong. Then you have, of course, the entire Raffles cluster over there, and we really boosted by a lot of evergreen demand into such an area lah. Yeah, it's also central part of Singapore. It's literally like, if you look at the map of Singapore, it's right smack in the middle, right? And then you have quite a very strong upgrader pipeline. All these upgraders are coming not only from Bishan, but they're coming from like everywhere, all parts of the entire island. Toa Payoh lah, you can also see coming from the west, coming from the east. Yeah, and most importantly, the type of project or the type of this product is very scarce in the area, right? Because I think it's dominated by older resale
You
projects.
do have like freehold projects there, but I think in terms of something that's like super new, then this was really like one of the big hit.
Yeah.
But for me, right, the draw of Jadescape is not that it's new, it's the facilities.
It's
It's the feel of it. It's like the moment you walk in, right, it's like, wow. You just
feel like that.
Yeah, you just never seen other. Okay, there's only a few projects that really stand out.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the moment you walk in and you're like, wow.
What other projects? For me is Park Clementis. Yeah, Park Clementis number one. Then my favorite number one project.
Which one? Ah,
It's
I know. Principal Garden.
Yeah, Principal Garden. That's right. Principal Garden.
Yeah.
Maybe not so
80%
favorite lah,
landscape.
since you can't really remember.
I can only remember the
Principal
big
Garden.
lawn, but I can't remember. I forgot the name.
For me also, Principal Garden is one of the top few.
Yeah.
There was this other one I went, but this is a bit more old school. I like that also. It was called Draycott 8.
Oh,
yeah,
Draycott 8 is a circular.
You go in, got water fountain one, but then
The tower is in a cylinder shape.
no.
There's the heritage.
Yes, the heritage.
Yeah, the
clubhouse.
heritage building clubhouse.
Correct. Yeah, so
Okay,
those
okay.
were like certain things. Okay, but
Yeah.
anyway.
We digress. But basically, having a deep buyer pool, which is being supported by, of course, a lot of inherent unchangeable characteristics, such as like locational factors, the evergreen demand, primary schools, scarcity of the supply. These will all help to form a very, very strong insurance policy for you. And this is what we mean when we talk about exit liquidity.
Okay.
Yeah, mean you say that even though you buy at a high price, I'm pretty sure today if I were to enter a Jscape, right,
You are still going on a high.
I'm still going
You're
on a high. Yeah, and I can still expect myself to exit down the road with some form of gains, right?
Yeah.
The runway is still a lot.
Yes, the runway is still a lot. Yeah. So, and then let's go to the second point. So second point we have is, of course, when it comes to, of course, when we talk about entry price, definitely exit liquidity, not a lot of good projects out there which have strong exit liquidity come at a low entry price, right? At a low entry quantum. But does this premium, does it really give an disadvantage to you? I don't think so. Because even though you enter high, like we go back to the Jscape project, even though we enter high, that does not necessarily mean that it will discount any capital gains that you expect to see. But exit, if you come in at a very low kind of price without having that exit liquidity to back up, right? That does not also necessarily mean that you will still get to see capital gains down the road. Because I think if you come in from the approach of I come in with focusing on just the price to enter, but not thinking forward a few steps ahead of my exit strategy, then I think you get stuck. You're just hoping for the best. Oh, I hope price go up, and then maybe in 5 years time I can sell. But it is a very, very
unknown.
You never do your due diligence properly. That's what I would say. Yeah, correct.
This is what I always tell clients that when you buy a property, anything that can be resolved using money is not a problem. It's whatever that money cannot even resolve. That is the problem.
Wow, wise words.
Yeah.
But it's true though.
It's true,
It's
right?
true
The facing, the door locations, the layout, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter even if you overpay slightly on entry. Say, for example, you enter 100k more than perhaps the other resale alternatives that are out there. But the market can also help you to recover that amount if, let's say, for example, you have a strong exit liquidity.
Possibly not within the 4 years. But maybe just take just hold a little bit more.
Yeah. But you have that holding power,
Yes.
I would say. Correct. Yeah. So as compared to maybe perhaps if you buy something at a very, very cheap price, not necessarily mean you can also sell down the road. You might even get stuck with this unit, right? You might even need to sell it at the price that you bought it 5 to 7 years down the road. Sometimes even lower,
really lower.
if you're so desperate. So these are the two main points that I would say would strengthen the exit liquidity. You guys have anything to share before we head on to the side of entry price?
Okay, maybe I just talk about this entry price. I just show you what's happening in the entire market. Okay, so if we talk about entry price, I think naturally we're talking about like the buying price. And sometimes people just assume like, okay, buy cheap, then you confirm safe, right? Because it is like, you don't need to think one, it will not go wrong. I just buy cheap can already ma. So I think that's like really just one bubble of like the pricing mechanics. Like entry price is one, but the exit liquidity is the other. Okay, let me start the other way. Okay, so this is the whole Singapore last 1 year sort of performance across the entire Singapore lah. So District 1 all the way to 28. Okay, these are the profitabilities. So in the past 3 years, right, for 4 bidders across the whole Singapore, you can see that almost every district is green, means it's positive. There is profit making in that sense. Of course, these are very like holistic numbers. Every project will perform differently. Okay, so these are just like very top view kind of approach. 3 bedrooms, same. There's really a lot more green than reds. There's only 2 reds here. 2 bedrooms, actually there's only 3 reds. The rest are all green. But let me show you this one bidder.
Whoa.
Yes. Okay, so for one bidder, right?
I'm really very scared of one bidder.
I was also very, very scared. I got scared. I got scared as well.
Okay, just for a bit of context, we've marketed quite a lot of one bidders. Usually they do come with their own set of challenges.
Yeah.
It can be solved, but they do come with their own set of challenges.
Do your due diligence, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not necessarily
Maybe
all
I need
one bidders are
to
bad.
I need to share.
Yeah.
I scared of. I don't know even if this sounds like a confession. Now, I it's not that I necessarily scared of one bidder.
Okay.
It's the person who owns it.
What do you mean?
Wow, hey, you really have bad experiences.
So what do you mean?
No,
Like,
okay.
they're
You see,
difficult or what?
you see, when we as agent marketing one bidder for sale, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The moment you see that one bidder attached with a certain project name, you know the level of challenges.
Okay, I get you.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
I want to hold true to this philosophy that every property can be sold.
Yes, I agree.
The only thing which audiences even know is, of course lah, sell can sell lah, with profit or no profit only ma, with profit or losses only ma, right? So what makes it challenging is that nobody, which is fully understandable by the way, is that nobody want to make a loss on their property.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So sometimes this is what actually make it the scary part for me, is that they want to exit and they expect agent to sell it with profit when they themselves know the level of challenges already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some kind of properties, right, is no matter the amount of marketing effort, it will still make a loss one.
Yeah. So they expect us to be like Superman, you know? We have everything. We know how to
Now,
solve every single problem out there.
No blame and fully understandable, as what I mentioned. And because we are all property owners over here. Okay, nobody want to make a loss on your property because you have invested so much, right? Now, the only thing is that whether you want to make it with a loss or profit, it depends on your time horizon. Today, if the seller tell me, say, I expect this to sell with profit or even break even, okay, but Alfred, don't worry about time. I have plenty of time. 2 years, 3 years, cannot. Okay lah. With time, we can certainly overcome some kind of barriers. But there are also owners who say 3 months. How? Yeah. So okay. So I managed to explain.
Okay. Have you got that off your chest already? Wow.
Feels a lot better now.
It felt like
Feels better.
He has been holding that for the past I don't know how long.
But I have to say, Alfred has marketed and successfully sold quite a lot of one bidders, and
So-
not easy ones. He have done like sub sale, haven't built finish. He also can sell.
So
Somebody actually understand.
Yeah, so he's been through that grind of like marketing a lot of one bidders.
I know. Alfred. I saw
Still
like
going
one or two
strong,
more
still
bidders
going
already.
strong.
I get
I'm
scarred
marketing
already.
one now.
Yeah.
I shall not name the project.
Yeah.
It's been almost 2 years in the making. Guess how many viewings I did?
Wow. 35.
One.
2 years, one viewing.
Actually, 35. If you've got 35
And
viewings
it's
for
not
one
bad
bidder,
already,
not bad already.
Yeah.
It's very good already. It's very good.
Because it's super good.
But 2
35.
years, one viewing.
Very sad,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the worst part, right? I can like turbo. I do all my marketing.
Yeah.
I pay so much ads. Just no inquiry.
Yeah,
There's
so-
like really just no inquiry. I can
which
get
is
viewerships, but not that.
Which is why, right, understand from the seller's perspective, right, that okay, you have certain expectations, and our job here is to really, really assist you and really help you sort of achieve it. But sometimes, right, us agents, we also need to also think from our perspective, like, will it actually like bleed us? Because 2 years, one viewings, and you say you've been turboing.
But I will still fight on.
I
Don't
mean,
worry.
we will definitely still fight on for you.
Fight on.
We will definitely still fight on for you, but it's like of course, we will share our thoughts and share our inputs. And for us agents here, we also take a very proactive approach. Yeah, we don't like just take your listing for sake of it, because we are the ones that are putting in the money putting in the effort to really, really sort of putting your unit out there, ensure that it's exposed to the widest possible target audience that you can. Yeah, but coming back here, I think this is a very good also sign. But Caline, does that mean that
The bigger the better.
Yeah, the bigger the better.
Okay, like to me, the bigger the better. Of course, that like partially is true, but it has to back up with like a lot of other factors. In terms of like a purchase.
Do
of
we
a
have
home.
like case studies where even buying a 3-bedder unit is not like it's
Have
not good?
one, have one. Okay, let me just pull up maybe. Actually, let me pull up a very popular district lah. Let's see. Sorry, D15. Okay, so
Wow,
D15,
D15 also got a rate one.
past 1 year profitability. Okay, I did like sort of sort by the annualized gain and realized gain. So has gone from like bleeding to green. Okay, so last 1 year, even D15, certain projects like Mayor mentioned and all, they do still take a loss.
Okay, wait. Okay, we have to caveat. We are not talking bad about the projects. But we're just showing the numbers lah.
Okay. So sometimes might be due to different reasons why the sellers might need to let go. But honestly, sometimes even though they let go at a loss, if they have spotted something better to buy, right, it makes sense because you take a little bit of loss here, but you recover a lot more in your next property.
Yes.
Correct. I think
agree.
it's just a matter of like what you're doing
Your
next.
priority.
Correct. So sometimes holding on to something that is maybe you know it's not going to perform as much might not be such a wise move lah. If you have the capabilities to do something about it. But I guess if let's say this is your final home, you really no rush and you got place to stay, then that's fine. You know, it's very like different individual kind of paths. So even D15, your popular like sort of districts, you can see like rates one or like even 0%. Actually, once you are, in my opinion, anything below 2%, right, actually all lose money one. Okay, the reason is because on paper it looks like there is a gain. After you count like your buyer's stamp duty that you pay in the start, the interest on the loan that you've paid, MCSC fees, property tax, agency fees when you want to sell,
blah blah.
everything in right usually right comes back to either square one or even a loss. Okay, so there
and these are 3-bedders we're talking
these
about.
are 3-bedders also. So it doesn't mean like if you just buy a 3-bedder prime district, definitely going to make, right? So there's a lot more other factors when we talk about like pricing growth and exit liquidity. So same like if I sort by the highest one, of course, then you can get like really good one like 16% annualized gain. So if you are this like lucky person, you bought the correct one, you can be sitting on this kind of profit.
Wow.
I want to take a look.
Duration help.
Euro Asia, top few is it?
Duration help.
Euro
5
Asia
years.
also have
5 years. Wow.
5 years, 63%.
63.2%, man.
What this person?
Wow, this is so good. And the layout looks so yummy though. 1,356 square feet, 3-bedder.
Okay, but maybe I just show right this coming back to like exit liquidity and how a lot of other factors play a part, and you must understand who your buyer exit audience is. Okay,
so really goes down to that buyer pool, right?
Correct.
Understanding them.
And I show you this one. So this is a very classic sort of case study for mine because I have personally been to both projects. This is in D15 also. Okay?
Sorry. Can I just say, Amber Park, right? I personally, right, is one of my favorite.
Oh, scare me.
It's one of my favorite, just aesthetics wise.
Exactly.
When I look at it, right, I'm just like in love, like wow. honestly, if I have a lot of money,
it has a sky jogging track.
Right. And if I have a lot of money, right, honestly, I will.
You just rent lah, never mind.
I will buy that.
Yeah, you can rent.
You can just rent. It's okay, bro.
Rent
just a smaller unit there.
Really, it just looks so.
It's really nice. Really nice.
Okay, sorry to cut you off. I just gotta say that.
No worries, but it's gonna come back to my point later. So Amber Park Coastline Residences, they are literally opposite diagonally lah. Okay, Coastline in fact is slightly closer to Tanjong Katong MRT. It's operational already. This Thomson East Coastline. They actually both launch in the same period. They TOP at the same period. Meaning to say, right, if you were a new launch buyer back in around 2019, you can choose one. You want to buy Coastline or you want to buy Amber Park.
Okay.
Both are freehold. Both have the same primary schools within 1 kilometer.
Okay.
So factually on paper, everything is the same, freehold, correct? Schools are the same. Location is actually the same. But the results, right, as of today, once it hit the resale market, right, is vastly very, very different. Okay, I'm just going to show you a very quick one. You can share your thoughts with me also, okay?
Which one's performing
This
better?
is Coastline.
Wow,
okay?
a lot of green.
Oh, wow, okay, a lot of green. Coastline, right, in the last 3 years, TOP already, 2024, 2025. This is the only number of transactions it has been done. 9.
Okay, 9.
Okay, if you go on Property Guru now, I believe there's easily a lot more listings than that lah. Okay, so this is the first thing. But if you take a look very closely, I've already blocked out the unit numbers. Okay, yes, I did. If you look very closely at the annualized gain, right, you can see actually averagely only 2-3%. Okay, so I mean it's not bad. There's even one loss. Okay, so for new launches to take a loss nowadays, I would say it's very rare. Correct. Yeah, so it comes back to show you, right, actually this project maybe didn't perform as well as people hoped for it to be.
Okay. Even though it has sea facing.
Some of it has sea facing, not all. So I think it depends on where you are at also.
Yeah.
Even though it's freehold near MRT.
Yeah.
Okay, I come to Amber Park. Amber Park is a lot larger naturally, number of units is a lot more. But at least as of today, right, they already have 71 transactions done. So in terms of like number of listings versus what is done, right, Coastline just has way too many inventory versus what is being done versus Amber Park. Yeah, so it comes back to show you the demand for this project at Amber Park is a lot stronger than Coastline.
Yeah, can we see what's the analyzed gains?
Let's show you.
Yeah.
So you can see immediately the difference is quite a lot also. Like it's like 5-7%, 6 for. So I think averagely you can see it's about, I would say about 5%.
I'll say it's healthy lah. It's healthy.
It's healthy,
yeah,
for
it's
sure.
healthy
It's
for freehold mass
Which
market
one is
project.
the one that only got 2%?
Large density project.
Let's see.
I saw a 2%.
2.7 one.
2.7.
This one here, hold for 5 years. It's a big unit, I think.
Wow, 6.5 mil.
5.68 when you first
yeah,
buy,
and so it's 6.5. Wow,
2003.
2003. Wow.
Yeah, 5 beta lah. That one's quite a different kind of configuration.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it comes back to show that, you know, you can be exactly in the same location, right? But your buyer pool here probably wants something that has more facilities. Okay, because Coastline, if you see, is a lot smaller, facilities are lesser.
Yeah.
Because everything else is the same. The size honestly is about the same. Like 2 bed, 2 bath, about 700 plus square feet. It's around the same. It really comes down back to the project feel, which is exactly what you mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, the moment you go in, you feel like, wow.
Yeah.
So it also comes back to the fact that families still value that.
Yeah. And if I were to go a bit deeper, right, actually it's also to understand, right, we're looking at this is prime D15.
Yes.
What do buyers really love about D15? I think we also need to understand that.
Correct.
It's really the lifestyle proposition that people are buying into. And a lot of times, lifestyle is all very emotional. You have to really go down to have a feel, to really, really buy into the vibe. Yeah, it resonates with you. And some people, of course, now we are talking about this kind of area, this kind of street, which is one of the more popular streets in D15. Definitely, people who are looking at this area can afford to buy in this area, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't even be looking at this area, number one. And then when they are looking at this area, then it's really that lifestyle. So it's really to understand. That's why, let's say, for example, you can see Amber Park in terms of land size and density is also one of the largest in the area, right?
Yeah.
Close, besides one Amber as well as the Esta and the Sea View as well, yeah. So I think also all these kind of factors really play an important role, in that sense. And so it's really to understand like your buyer audience, the mindset. Why are they buying? Why do they want to buy into this unit? What are they looking for? Yeah. So not necessarily you buy into the lowest price, you can straight away guarantee your exit down the road. Yeah. Correct. Well, this is a very good case study.
No, this one is good.
It also speaks about volume of transaction because Coastline, I think it's 144 units. Amber Park is like a lot more. Yeah, but in terms of like volume, it's way bigger. So volume of transactions did help. But I think the biggest thing that pushed up was the facilities.
Definitely.
Yeah, so understanding your audience lah. Yeah, because people come here, they compare both. Naturally, same price. Why not get something that has more facilities? Yeah. So the exit liquidity was affected for Coastline because of that. But I'm not saying Coastline is a bad project. I'm just saying that, you know, if there is a choice right now as a buyer,
comparison,
correct, you will naturally do this kind of comparisons also.
Right. Okay, good. So now on the flip side, of course, then people, I know those fighting for entry price, they will say, oh, if I enter at a lower price, I mean, there will be more room for me to breathe. And that's important as well. So what do you guys think about this perspective?
Means you buy lower, then you think you can make more, huh?
Or let's say even if I decide to sell down the road, at least I have the I can afford to sell lower lah. Because eventually the profit margin, right, the percentage margin, it still makes sense. So let's say for example I buy lower than others, but my expectation is not to really hit certain kind of percentage gains or expected gains. But down the road, at least I know that there is a little bit more breathing room for me to sort of still hit that kind of or at least realize some gains lah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think this perspective does hold some weight, but perhaps not looking from a investor kind of lens. Maybe kind of like a family owns their kind of lens. Yeah. So let's say, for example, if you're buying to meet the emotional needs, right? Let's say, for example, when we're talking about entry price today, affordable ones, 3-bedders, I think most of them are usually the more mature projects, larger kind of we call that floor plans, right? I think these are more suitable for like maybe family-owned stays. If you're today, if I'm an investor, I should not be looking at such properties because investors usually they work within a shorter time horizon.
Yeah,
maybe about 4 to 5 years,
yeah.
5 to 6 years max. Yeah, and I think if you're buying into something like that, you might not be putting your money where it works for you the best. So me to say really, from my own stay kind of perspective, the entry price makes that unit accessible for me to enter. And I think the accessibility itself has a lot of value in it. Yeah. And the second, of course, perspective for entry price would be in terms of like, if I enter low, then that sort of really protects my downside a little bit, right? It's like in terms of like risk management, right? Because I mean, when I'm looking at like exit liquidity, is sort of never guaranteed because it depends on factors that you also cannot control. But what is the factor that you can control? You can control the price you enter into, right? Today, I see the things, I see the price. To me, whether I can make sense of it right now, at least is something that I can see. Something that I can't see down the road, that is also never guaranteed in that sense. So it's sort of really to manage the risk that I'm about to take. A lot of people also see value in sort of entering low.
Okay.
Yeah, but what do you guys think about this perspective?
I'm still a strong believer that if you buy a project that has evergreen demand, meaning to say that you kind of can predict that you definitely got like a buyer pool in future, right? It doesn't matter whether you enter high now or you enter low. So that's my perspective. I'm a lot more, at least for all my buyers, I'm usually a lot more concerned of whether that project can perform 5 years down the road. Rather than today we just try to get like the cheapest compared last time and all. Of course that would be great. I mean that would be great. That's going to give you a bit more room for profitability. But to me, the exit liquidity is the most important because it doesn't matter if all your neighbors went up, your price on paper, like your bank valuations went up. But if you bought maybe this certain layout, this certain facing that just cannot sell, then what's the point, right? Like maybe at this point you want to sell to buy a landed, then the landed price keep going up, then you're still stuck here. So to me, it's always about the exit. The faster you can exit, it outweighs the benefits of entering lower. That's my thing.
Outweighs the risk also right? Yes, of course. Maybe today the exit strategy is never guaranteed, correct? But at least you sort of still need to do your due diligence a little bit, understand the market, understand that project that you're buying into, not just purely looking at the entry point that you are entering in, but more towards really sort of projecting what is the exit. Because if you come in without a plan, and your plan is just to enter at the lowest point, not necessarily you will leave or exit the property at a point that is higher than that. So I think if we go to the last slide, I think we've already come close to the conclusion. So this is basically the framework basically, I think we are all in the same camp in the sense of like exit liquidity is definitely more important than the entry price. And I think if you want to avoid that trap, you definitely have to think about your exit before you even enter in the first place, right? Because exit liquidity is the upstream variable, right? It's something that, of course, down the road, it is available and you wouldn't know. But an entry price is the downstream. But most importantly is that do your due diligence, sit down with your realtor, sit down with your consultant, and understand the exit liquidity first. Once you understand, and this sort of really strengthens the moat in you buying into that particular area or that particular project, then you start to negotiate about the entry price. Correct. And basically, of course, if you're not able to get the lowest entry price, then at least enter into like what makes sense for you. Because I think down the road, definitely exit liquidity will still help to strengthen and have that way out for you And I think one example, of course, Penrose. I think Penrose is quite a very, very good performing project. When it was launched at about 1,500 odd per square foot, versus the D14 kind of like 1,600 odd per square foot. It is the top RCI performance in terms of in terms of volume, and I think so far no unprofitable transactions in that project itself. Almost close to 100 profitable transactions in 2024 alone. I think currently right now a lot of changing of hands, and even the second, third owners, third can. No.
I don't think they're third yet.
Maybe not third yet. Yeah, maybe even the second owners are very
second.
optimistic. Correct. So this is my take lah. Definitely the framework would be to understand the exit liquidity before you even start to think about the entry price.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Good.
Any closing statements, closing sentiments before we end this?
I now look forward to the next episode where we talk about post launches.
That's the only thing on your mind. Yeah, his one is there already.
His one is just there now. Okay, we'll
talk about new launch so much already. Talk about so. Okay, again. Caline?
To me, it's buy cheap doesn't mean you confirm make money lah.
Yeah.
So just remember that, and just always ask yourself like, who's going to buy from you? What's their behavior? What's their preferences? Before you make that move. Yeah, that's my key takeaway.
Yeah.
All right.
One thing that I will always ask myself, okay, when we talk about especially this topic, exit liquidity, I always ask myself this question. When I help this client to purchase, will I dare to help him or her sell
Down the
3
road.
to 4 years
Yeah.
down the road? Yeah. Because when I know if I were to get any of my client into a share project, okay, then in my mind, right, I will more or less already know that this is going to be a one-time transaction.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, next time, please don't ask me to sell for you, right? But so this is me keeping my conscience clear with every single transaction that I do. Yeah. So far I am still blessed and confident to say that whichever client come back to me, I still can help him or her sell. With a level of confidence lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is how I look at exit liquidity.
All right.
Yeah, because by now, right, audiences already know there is never one single measurement.
Yeah.
It's always a multi-pronged measurements.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and this is the episode. So if you find this episode useful, please share it to your friends and family or anyone that tell you to buy cheap. Because
buy near
not
MRT only.
or buy near MRT only, or
Our contact details are all below.
And of course, if you want to run through your specific situation with us, do contact us. Our numbers are just down below. If not, then
See
we'll
you.
catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.